Hi everyone, good day. Welcome to our masterclass series on ManageEngine integrations. And in this particular series, we're going to talk about unleash the power of 360-degree IT service management. Now, before we get into our today's masterclass series, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Santosh Maiban, product expert from ManageEngine Service Desk Plus. I've been with this organization for more than 9 years and have my experience with service desk implementations worldwide. And this has given me enough insights to understand how customers use help desk, how they use to adapt it for their internal process, and extending those capabilities to integrate service desk with other tools, not only for help desk, but also for monitoring, asset provisioning, software installation, and so on. So in today's session, I'm going to share my experience, use cases, best practices with everyone. Also, when we are at this particular session, I would encourage you all to ask questions along the session. Use the GoToWebinar's chat window to go ahead and post any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them at the very end during the question and answer section. And also, after every masterclass session is completed, we're going to send an email with the recorded webinar and the question and answers being answered. So please feel free to go ahead and ask as much as questions possible. We are going to build the IT control center using two scenarios. So we're going to see how we could work with two different scenarios and put all these products together and show an effective integration. Number one is going to be our classic user onboarding process, where we're going to see how the request can be fulfilled right from within one console. We understand that there are going to be series of tasks to onboard user, but we are also going to see how those tasks can operate, how those tasks can be implemented. So we're going to see how just within from one interface, IT can swiftly work on setting up the user's requirements. Number two is going to be change management process. Again, a single pane where you could control and view the exact happenings of a change. As far as I've seen, organizations have said that we are working on the change, but right before it could be approved, someone gains access to the server, they make changes. Or even if it's a planned change, we fail to update or inform the teams, and that causes too much of requests coming in. Why asking explanation as to why the service has been done, or how else you could help us with audits. So these are all questions that users have come up with, and we're going to show you how it could be controlled. So let's go into our first scenario about service request management. Now, managing service requests it's not quite complicated. It's just that framing how the solution needs to work and what are the entities you need to capture is going to be really huge. Now, when it comes to an onboarding process, as far as I have seen, that's a primary requirement for organizations to set it up. The reason being that is onboarding involves different service teams to work on one particular ticket. Number two, you don't want a user to join the organization but not have the services delivered. Now, number three, when all the services have to be delivered, it's going to be really, really difficult for teams like IT and HR to log into different applications to configure the user's AD account, create a mail account, create an Office 365 account. That is going to be really exhaustive. Not only that, tracking what are the activities that have happened throughout this service request process at one place is going to be really difficult. Now, that is where Service Desk Plus with other integration steps right in. Not just that you have one ticket with templates, tasks, and a lot of fields to capture data, but right from the same ticket, you could get all those activities completed, like provisioning a user's asset, installing a software, assigning a device, then managing users' information into the AD, not just for onboarding. If users are going to leave the organization or move between departments, that's another challenge that poses the organization. When I join in, IT would know I joined into an HR department, but I would have moved into administrative line or business development, and my information is not updated in the organization because my promotions or my employee move and transfer requests were not handled properly. So each department worked into silos and it wasn't communicated properly. So these are challenges that could be avoided using our onboarding mechanism that we have. Now, we're going to quickly breeze through how a service template with multiple configurations can be done. Along with that, we are going to see how services can integrate with Active Directory Manager Plus, where you could create user accounts, manage user accounts, then create a Microsoft Exchange mailbox, an Office 365 account, Google account, and Skype for Business. Then provision a desktop or laptop with required operating system, install the software that's required for the user, provision, enroll, and hand out mobile devices and associating devices to the user. So this is where we're going to see how Services Plus talks with Desktop Central, which is our endpoint management solutions. We are going to see how it talks with Active Directory Manager Plus, OS Deployer, part of Desktop Central, and also mobile device management, which is part of Desktop Central. We're going to see how all these products integrate with each other. Now, let's get into Service Desk Plus. So we are all not new to this particular console. We have used Service Desk Plus. So I'm going to go right into the admin tab, and I'm quickly going to show you how my Service Desk template has been designed. So for my user onboarding, I go right into user management, and I have this particular service template that is what I'm going to show today. So this service template has a lot of fields, sections to make to easily understand what these fields are all about, and I have a lot of resource questions with tasks. So this is kind of a use case which I have gathered from one of my customers to understand how the resource questions could be put into effective use, so that when users are filling out the form, the right set of fields are shown and it's not overcrowding the user experience, and users have a clear vision on what request to raise. So this is about resource question, and I'm publishing it to the right set of users. So my template is configured, and I'm making minor adjustments on how this form would be shown for the end user under the requester view. And in the workflows where I could say what's the approval process and what are the approvers that is required, what are the stages of, what are the different type of tasks that needs to be triggered, and also the dependencies for tasks. What is the sequence on which the task has to be triggered? So this is the workflow that I have configured on my service template. And to know more about this, our first masterclass series was about onboarding new joinee into the organization. You can always refer to that to understand how service catalog and other entities around that are being constructed. Now, with this being configured, the templates are further tailored to the needs using field and form rules. And again, this information is going to be available on that particular masterclass series. But the important configuration over here, which we need to focus on, is the workflow, where we have template actions. Now, these template actions are available or will be only enabled when Service Desk is integrated with the other solutions. Let's quickly take a look at how these integrations work. I go right into the admin console, and at the very bottom, I have ME integrations or ManageEngine integrations. Over here, I have integrations with ADManager Plus. So Active Directory Manager Plus is a tool which helps you to add users to the Active Directory, update, move users. So you can make your AD management really easy using Active Directory Manager Plus. And since help desk is where the onboarding tickets or user transfers, move tickets, or users leaving the organization. So these tickets are being tracked in help desk. Integrating with an AD solution like ADManager Plus is really helpful to manage all these activities. Let's take a look. So here is Active Directory Manager Plus, and I could go ahead, configure Service Desk Plus settings right into Active Directory AD Manager. So I go to integrations. I provide the Service Desk details right over here. Likewise, in Service Desk Plus, I go ahead and provide ADManager details, test, and save the configuration. Once it is done, I get a list of these actions that I could enable. For each of these actions, I could say, does it need to work for all the roles or for selected roles? Likewise, I can choose the templates. Do I need to have it available for all the templates or just for certain service templates or incident templates? So this is how I go ahead and enable all these roles, all these actions. And these are the actions that is going to be listed for each and every service template. And over there, I can pick and choose what action I need to have. And also over here, I can go ahead and enable or disable that specific action. So this way, once the integration is done, the configurations are enabled, and these configurations can be configured in such a way if based on user scoping, like which are the roles that needs to have access to, and then we could also say what are the templates that needs to have this role available. Now, likewise, we are going to see how we could go ahead and integrate Desktop Central. So once I've integrated Active Directory Manager Plus, I have AD operations readily available. Likewise, I have to provide Desktop Central credentials into Service Desk Plus, and in Desktop Central, I'm going to provide the Service Desk Plus details. Now, again, only when these two products integrate with each other, the workflow works. And also, the template actions can be updated or enabled, and the same can be enabled on the particular service template. Now, not just Desktop Central, we also have mobile device management. So if you have the solution by itself, you could just go ahead and integrate only mobile device management. So again, you provide the details, and in mobile device management, you provide the details accordingly, and you get access to integrate and perform actions. So now we have seen for our first use case of user onboarding, we have integrated Service Desk with Desktop Central, as well as with Active Directory Manager Plus, and we're going to see how we could perform different operations right from within one console. Now, with all these templates being created, the hiring manager is going to go ahead and create a new ticket. Now, while I'm creating a ticket, as we discussed, it's going to have the SLAs reflected, and the hiring manager is creating a ticket. I'm going to fill in the fields such as the category, the subcategory. So it's going to be user managed administration. It's new employee. I have my details. My subject is listed. I'm going to choose it as a permanent employee, and the new joinee's name is Wong, and I am updating the contact details. Then I'm choosing the office location, department, and the role that user is going to play. Now, again, these are resource questions. You can control the questions listing using field and form rules. You can go ahead and make customizations to this form as however required. But today, our focus is exactly on the integration. So I'm just going to quickly create this request. So all my details are filled in. My service cost is updated, and I click on Add Request. Now, once my request is created, I get a custom action button with all the actions that I configured on the workflow. So here is the ticket, and I have custom actions. My primary activity is to create the user in AD. Now, for me to do this, since I've integrated Service Desk with Active Directory Manager Plus, I get the templates listed from Active Directory Manager Plus right into Service Desk Plus. And here is a template that says I wanted to create AD account, an Office 365 account, an Exchange account, and a G Suite account. So I'm using this template. The data from my ticket has been carried over, which is the username, and I am filling the password so that upon a login, the user can go ahead and change the password. Now, when I click on Create AD User, right from within Service Desk console, so if I'm a hiring manager or an IT technician, right from within Service Desk, I can easily create a user in AD. I don't need to log into multiple applications. I don't need to switch tabs or browsers. I can create the user right from within the help desk ticket. Now, if this request is going to be a move and transfer, or if the employee is going to leave the organization, I can go ahead and perform the same operations right from within the help desk ticket. This way, the user information is updated across the organization's repositories, and it's not just on a particular help desk ticket. Now, this is the shortcoming that most of the organizations have. They don't have the right tools in place. Now, what this does is this blindfolds them, having only the ticket being updated, but not the organization's services and repositories being updated. This is one tip you could take, not just enrolling the user, deprovisioning assets. like removing users from Active Directory, you can do it through our Service Desk and Active Directory Manager integration. Once done, the asset has already been asset is purchased. The asset is ready for software to be installed. I can use my Desktop Central's integration to go ahead and install software. So I'm just going to go ahead and install software for the user. So let me quickly go ahead, choose the software name, then it's a target workstation, and I am going to go ahead and choose the workstation on which I want the software to be installed, and I click on Save. Now, what this does is, this automatically creates a task right into the task tab of the ticket. And this task is specifically to understand that it's created from Desktop Central. Now, this particular activity is tracked in Desktop Central. So what happens is when the task is it's now set for ready to execute, and once it's executed, its status is updated right within Service Desk Plus. Now, this eases the operation for the IT teams. They need not log into different applications. They need not manually go ahead and sit and install. Have Desktop Central integrate with Service Desk Plus. Have your software and patches added right into Desktop Central. With the integration, with a couple of clicks, you initiate the software installation process through Desktop Central to the target workstations. And using this tight integration with these particular tabs within the application, users can automatically view the entire console of Desktop Central right within Service Desk Plus. Now, not just Desktop Central, all other ManageEngine solutions that have tight integrations would be listed right from within Service Desk Plus. Now, if I need to provision a mobile device, like if I need to assign a device to a user, I could just go ahead and click on Assign Device. Now, this is where mobile device management, which is part of Desktop Central, comes right in. Mobile device management's integration with Service Desk Plus helps us to choose the device and to provide the device name and assign it to the user. So this way, right from within one place, I'm provisioning assets to users. Now, we can also have another use case where customers have come to us saying that users lose or like misplace the organization's mobile devices, and we need to track them either to retrieve the asset or clean wipe the data that is there in the asset, or even to like remote lock the device. Now, this is again a feature that is available. So all you have to do is integrate Service Desk Plus with mobile device management and Desktop Central. Have Desktop Central track, manage all assets and mobile devices. And with the integration, the devices comes right into Service Desk Plus. Now, if the user creates a request for like device being stolen or lost, right from within the ticket, just like as how we are provisioning the device, we can also like lock the device or remote wipe it. So these are benefits that you get for managing assets right from within Service Desk Plus using Desktop Central's integration. So our first case of managing user onboarding effectively using Service Desk Plus, we have seen how Active Directory Manager Plus and Desktop Central work with each other, like tightly work with Service Desk Plus, and they help us not only manage user data or user management process, but also like asset management process for the new hire right from within the Service Desk ticket. Now, this is also going to be very helpful for auditing because all these activities are carried over right from within the help desk ticket. So with this, we are completing our first case on how Service Desk Plus helps user onboarding, like how Service Desk Plus smoothens the user onboarding experience with integrating with Desktop Central and Active Directory Manager Plus. Here is our second scenario. Now, this specific scenario is about an organization that wants to upgrade their particular servers to 2016. Now, in this particular upgrade process, they wanted to have certain restrictions and controls. We are going to see how Service Desk Plus helps this organization not only to track the entire changes that's happening during a server upgrade, but also to prevent any outages or to communicate the planned outages to the business. We're going to see what are the tools and solutions that are going to integrate with Service Desk Plus for this. So here is a situation where this organization has decided to upgrade their services, uh, like the server operating systems, from 2008 to 2016. Now, in this particular process, the organization wants to copy files and information physically from that particular server to ensure that after upgrade, all the information is intact and there is no data loss. Now, if we have to access, so in this particular process, there is going to be a change request created, and once the change request is like once the change request goes through the approval process, the request is now ready to be implemented, which is take the backup, copy files and folders, and then upgrade it to the latest. Now, when I wanted to upgrade, which means I need to get access to the server, I'm going to introduce Password Manager Pro to allow access to those particular server only when the change is approved. Likewise, once the change is approved, and if there are monitoring solutions in place to track the downtime of servers, it should not go. The monitoring solution should not trigger alarms for known activities. So we're going to see how we could trigger alerts as well. So here is a quick workflow that we have. So this is the workflow that we're going to discuss today. So I'm going to create a change request. The service request comes in asking for upgrading the server from like one version to the other. Then we are involving the right members for the change using change roles. And once they are shared their approval process, and once the log ticket has been like reviewed and approved, then a privileged access session is created through Password Manager Pro. So their passwords are not with anyone. The devices cannot be accessed or remoted in until the change has been approved. Once the devices are being accessed, then the files are being copied over and the entire session is automatically recorded. Once the session is closed, the recorded session from Password Manager automatically comes right into Service Desk Plus. Not only this, for this planned change, there are a lot of chances that the technician may overlook into the ticket and forget to communicate the outage to the business. Now, this would lead to a lot of confusion and unwanted questions coming in. So using OpManager's integration with Service Desk Plus, we're going to see how the downtime can be proactively set on the OpManager, which is a monitoring solution, so that exactly during that time, when the servers are offline, OpManager is not going to send any alerts or triggers. So this is where we are going to see how we are de-escalating a totally normal change right into a standard change. So I'm going to introduce you to OpManager and Password Manager and see how they integrate with Service Desk Plus. Let's take a quick look. So here is my Service Desk Plus, and here is my change management module. Now, this is one such ticket where a ticket request has been created to migrate the servers from one operating system to the other. Now, exactly at this particular migration, we don't want unnecessary tasks to be triggered, or we don't want users to work on the particular change before the change is approved. So let's see what are the options we have. Now, Service Desk Plus has change management, which has 6 stages, and each stage has been controlled by a workflow. So, which means that users cannot jump the stage until it's been approved at one stage. Also, for every change, we can associate the assets involved and services affected. So this gives organizations to understand the impact of this particular service. So if this service is going to be down, or if this service is going to have a hit, using this CMDB, organizations can understand what is going to be the impact on the business. So I could just use the relationships, figure out how this particular service is related with each other. So this way, using our change management and CMDB, organizations can understand the impact using this particular feature, which is assets involved and services affected. Now, each of these changes controlled by a workflow. We're going to quickly see how this change template and workflows are created, and all these changes are being controlled by the roles, which means the change for IT might not be the same as a change request for HR. Now, change request for IT, the team from IT is involved. change requests from HR would involve members from like change department as well as from which is from IT department and from the HR department. So this is where roles come into picture. Let's take a look at how these components are created. And our last session, the one before this, today's session is where we had the change management session. So that the recording for the same is also available online. So what you have to do is we have change templates. We can create different change templates for different type of changes. So that's what I already have. And this change template is no big different from the regular incident or service request template that you've already been working on. So you can add the fields required, add additional fields that you want, and then you could choose the change roles. So this is where you can add different roles that needs to be part of this particular change. So you can add change roles, and while configuring on the template, you can choose the change workflow. So this workflow is created again under the admin section for change, and each of these workflow can be associated to the template, and each of these templates can be mapped with different change roles as well. So all of this put together is my change template over here, and I've created a new change. So this is how my new change when I'm creating looks like. So I fill in all the details that's required for this particular change, choose the change roles, and then once I've done all this association, I just go ahead and click on save. Now my change request is created. Not only is my request created, it automatically triggers a downtime or marks a downtime in OpManager. So OpManager is my monitoring solution, and this continuously keeps tracking and monitoring the uptime of server. Now, I'm planning to bring the service down from 18th, do a maintenance from 18th to the 31st of July. Now, during this period, I don't want notifications to be triggered out to the business heads and to different teams and to avoid too many incident requests coming in or to avoid too many confusions happening. I've proactively marked downtime using OpManager's integration. Now, this is quite common. Users can forget users might overlook a particular task, they might forget to mark on it. It's still fine with this integration. You can proactively go ahead and mark your downtime. Once done, we have Password Manager Pro. Let's take a quick look at Password Manager Pro. Now, Password Manager Pro is a tool which has all your resources and assets, and all the passwords for these assets are stored right in. So which means that no user has their access to the raw passwords directly. Now, what happens in ideal situation is when I have associated the assets and services involved and when the change has been approved, this is where the technician needs to work on this particular change. But I have seen scenarios where the moment the change is created, teams would start working right on the change ticket, either go with upgrades, they neglect the approval process. This not only causes confusion, but if there is an outage for an activity that has been planned, and if the change is implemented in the wrong way, it causes change to fail. And this causes devastating effect to the business, and you're going to have a lot of issues coming up. So with my experience, customers using OpManager and Password Manager have come across a lot of failed changes or unauthorized changes because for someone to access the asset, they need to go to Password Manager Pro. They have to go to the resources section, and right from the resource section, they have to initiate a RDP session. Now, to initiate the RDP session, Service Desk would request for a valid change ID. Now, this change ID has to be an ID that is being approved. Only then the session is valid. If not, Service Desk Plus is not going to initiate this session at all. So I need to provide the corresponding change ID, which is approved, right into my Password Manager Pro. Only then the changes passed on, the access has been initiated, and I have a RDP session to the server. This way, when I'm working on this particular session, and according to my scenario, I have to copy files and data before I go ahead and upgrade the server. I'm doing the process right now. As I'm doing so, once my entire activity is completed, I close the session. And once the session is terminated, right into Service Desk Plus change record, all the remote session recordings are updated as video clips. Now, auditors can go ahead with the data that has been submitted. They can understand what this change is all about and what has actually happened. Now, if the scenario is complicated or something went wrong, they can always refer to the video clip to get the log of what happened. This way, using this particular integration and the video updated right into the change ticket, user organizations can understand what went wrong, how they could enhance their change implementation process. These are tools and systems for learning. So this way, when a change is created and approved, the downtime is proactively marked in OpManager using the Service Test Plus and OpManager integration. All the passwords for assets and resources are stored right in Password Manager Pro. So if I need to RDP into a machine, I need to have a valid change ID or a request ID which has been approved, and only after that the particular change session is remote session is initiated through remote Password Manager Pro, and once the session is completed, it's updated right back into the change ticket of Service Test Plus. Now, this has actually benefited customers, and they have also integrated with other ManageEngine solutions. They have brought their auditing right into one place. So any issues or queries related to how the change was implemented, how the communication happened, how the downtime were set, it's all available from within one place. Now, not just ManageEngine products, if you have other monitoring solutions which has APIs available, we can integrate through APIs as well, and we can perform a contextual integration between two products. Now, we have seen situation on how these two scenarios can be handled using Service Test Plus. Now, so let's take a quick look at what are the solutions we have. So from IT service management to Active Directory, client management, on-demand, IT operations management, IT security management. So this is where we discussed about Password Manager Pro, OpManager, Desktop Central, AD, and Mobile Device Manager. We also have IT analytics. Now we have seen the entire suite. We have seen how all these products work with each other. Likewise, we also have Analytics Plus, so ManageEngine Analytics Plus, which is a reporting software that helps you to build different reports and use it across your organization. So over here, what we're looking at is a small overview. Now, when Analytics Plus is integrated right from within Service Test Plus, so the integration happens from the Reports tab, and I have Analytics Plus integration. Now, if I integrate Service Test with Analytics Plus, what happens is all my data from the request module, tasks, work log, assets, this data goes right into my Analytics Plus. And over there, I have predefined dashboards using which my data has been rendered into different dashboards. It is rendered into different reports. Now, also, I can build in my own CIO dashboards. I can build in dashboards that I can share to a specific set of people. I can create new reports. I can also view all the default reports that's available and how the reports are being constructed using the data from Service Test Plus. And also, not to give you too much of information about this, because our next masterclass series is about analytics service, like reporting analytics. So I would request you all to sign up for our next session as well to know how the analytics work, how it could be created, how the integration works, how the data can be accessed across different access and services plus, and how it could be shared across your organization. So with this, we have completed our today's session on Services Plus 360 IT Service Management. We have seen how all these all these solutions which ManageEngine offers integrates with Service Test Plus, and how Service Test Plus, being the center of IT, controls different activities with an effective integration. So thank you all for your active participation on today's masterclass series. If you have any questions, you can email us at webinars@servicetestplus.com. You can also email us at hello@servicetestplus.com. We'll be happy to assist you with this. And thank you all for your time. Share your reviews at Gartner Peer Insights website, and have a good day. Take care.